I died in Iraq.
Yeah.
I was in a 7-ton accident. The 7-ton rolled over. I fell 35, 40 feet from a bridge down to the river. I was the first one to fall. Everything fell on top of me. I fell in water, so I drowned. And that was really a wake-up moment.
What is up, you guys? Welcome back to the #1 mental health and addiction podcast, The Hopeaholics. I am your girl, Natalie Eva Marie, and these are my boys.
I'm Chad.
Hi, I'm Shane.
Make sure you guys like, subscribe, and follow us on our socials and wherever you get your podcasts.
Got a new episode dropping every Monday and Thursday. Please come check it out.
This episode is brought to you by the Infinity Group. You guys, if you or a loved one is suffering, please call us today. The number is right here on the screen. We are here for you 24/7. Now, let's get into the episode.
Real quick, let's get this party started.
Yeah, let's do it.
You want to get this party started?
Let's start.
You want to get this party
Yes.
started? All right. JP, welcome to the Hopeaholics
Yeah, bro.
Podcast.
Welcome.
Yes.
Man. Nice to have you.
Oh, man, it's a
Yeah,
pleasure.
shit.
It's an honor. You know, it's funny. A veteran of mine sent me one of your guys' video earlier this year. And I said, oh, my God, I fucking love this. Because when I was going through my transition from drinking, I couldn't find nothing like this. And he sent me one episode, and I think it was you, the one that mentioned something about how it felt after you transitioned from drinking, and you guys had a guest, and dude, that was so impactful. I think I told you, I said I send your videos to a bunch of vets because that's what I do now. I'm with an organization that I'm like the front line to help veterans if they get to that endpoint.
Oh, okay.
Like they're gun in their head, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna pull it. I get a call. It's one of the worst jobs possible, but it feels really good when you can help somebody.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I have been there where we have lost some
Yeah.
people. But more platforms like this can make a great impact when there's a big void in the market for it,
For sure.
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
It does.
There's been a huge void in the market for this. Like prior to, and I only know based on the knowledge that I have because I had never seen anything like what we're doing when we started the podcast. All of the like addiction, mental health type podcasts were like doctors and psychologists, and they were really boring, like really, really boring. There was no raw, like, emotion, feeling, people that had been there. I had not seen anything. I mean, there was, there was a thing called soft white underbelly, and it's still a thing. But it was just a guy interviewing addicts from the streets, right? It's not like a legit podcast. Like we are a podcast, and I think that we're the first of our kind. So that makes me kind of proud, I guess.
Oh my God, for sure. And it's one of the reasons why I was so excited to become a part of, because I didn't know of anybody talking about it. And it's something that's so stigmatized that people need to know that they're not alone.
Yeah.
There's so many people that suffer with the disease of substance abuse, alcoholism, or just mental health in some capacity, and that there's a solution available. And this is like, obviously we talk about like what we do on a daily basis, but everybody that sits in the seat that you're in right now, they share their experience, strength, and hope, because everybody's journey is different. Everybody, how they maintain it, how they're basically just living to your full potential. Because I really believe that nobody wants to be stuck and feel terrible and go on. Like, life's not supposed to be like that,
Yeah.
you know?
Also, I feel that it gives true hope. That's why I love the name, because when I first met you and Jonathan and you guys were sober, that's really when it hit, like, wait a minute, you could be successful and be sober? Like, I grew up seeing success with bottles.
Sure.
Champagnes, you're making it rain, the Cristal, the MTV Cribs, you walk in, the first thing they do is what? Show you the refrigerator.
right.
Why? Because look, when you're balling, this is what you get. So when I started making money in real estate, it was like, oh, that's what I got to do. So I went out, got the Lambos, the Ferraris, and all this stuff, and popping bottles, because that gives you what? Status. So here come these two individuals, and wait, we're successful and we don't drink. Then you're like, wait a minute, how does that work? Right.
That's cool.
And
That's
then
cool
it starts leaving something in you, and then you start discovering, and that's really when I started meeting other individuals. And this is why the key word of your environment is truly, a big part of your outcome.
Yeah.
And I started discovering that there is other individuals that are successful that don't have to need alcohol. And I said, well, I kind of hate the way it feels when you're drinking. I hate hangovers. It's clearly going to kill your body. Man, maybe I should explore this.
Yeah.
And then that's how that journey started. So the fact that you have individuals here and share that you can still be successful and achieve all these amazing things through adversities and even slip-ups is insanely powerful.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear. Really awesome to hear.
And that's cool for me to hear, talk about full circle, because I had no idea that we planted a baby seed. And when did we meet? 2019?
No, it was probably like, 2018?
Maybe
2018.
because I'm trying to think of like hair color. That's how I find my years.
That was a
So,
very
2018.
bad era in my life, girl. That was...
You were super cool. So
Well, that was the
you were
thing.
at least a nice guy, or at least came off
I
that
was
way.
always that social front dope person, but in the end of the day, I was broken.
Yeah.
And I'm okay sharing that
Yeah.
now. Back then, I would never fucking say anything like this. I was still helping veterans out of the street, being homeless with this fake fucking face of happiness that I had everything figured out, but inside I was fucking hurting. Like, you have no fucking idea.
Oh, we do.
I used to have a funny name for myself when I was in that exact era in my life where like everything looked beautiful on the outside, but inside I was dying.
Yeah.
And I even named myself a name because it was so pathetic that everybody thought my life was just beautiful, and I was about to fucking like spiral off the deep end. And wait until you guys hear the name.
Wait a second. Should we do it, or should we have the fans guess it?
I mean, nobody will
No
guess
one's going to
it. There's
guess it.
no
What
way.
was it? What was it?
So this was my name.
Yeah.
It was Facade Amir.
Facade.
Oh my
So,
God.
so the reason why
Mirror,
I named myself
the mirror, yeah.
So because when I looked in the mirror,
Facade,
all
yeah.
I saw was a facade.
Weird. That was a good.
So I named myself Facade Amir.
Amir.
That's hilarious. That's actually pretty clever.
Yeah.
And I think it's just a testament that we are experts at becoming that,
Yeah.
where we put on the front really, really well, and meanwhile we're literally dying inside.
Yeah. That's why, I look back, and on the drive over here, I was just thinking, I was like, damn, like, yeah, we were cool. We spoke. I remember it was a great shoot. Dude, I made that seller so much money on that property because on advertisement, he made a shitload of money. I never once asked for money. I was just, dude, if I don't even know how to break it down. JP was the non-confident, although I did not show that, non-confident,
Yeah.
hurting, so much insecurities inside. And what you didn't see is that twice during that shoot, I went and took a shot.
Wow.
And that's what I needed to build confidence.
Yeah.
And I think back now, I was like, wow, like, you were such a fucking, I don't know. And that's the other thing I talk to my therapist now. He's like, you're too hard on yourself sometimes, and you have to understand that it's okay. It's okay because you did go through a lot of trauma, and that was just the way that you felt you needed to adjust. And it's okay. It's good because now you made a change. So you can't beat yourself up on it, because sometimes I think that I'm like, fuck, dude, I fucked that up so much. I fucked up so many opportunities that when I did stop drinking, I had this whole list of people that I had to go apologize to.
Sure.
And that fucking sucked. But it felt better. It felt so much good. Some of them still don't talk to me. Some of them straight out told me, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Like, even family. They're like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Fuck you. And I was just like, oh, I don't know. Can I cuss here?
Yeah.
Because I drop a lot of F-bombs.
Yeah.
We don't care.
And so, yeah, I went down through this whole list of just, apologizing. And, it's something I tell my son now is, what makes a real man is not somebody that lives 315 or bench presses this or deadlifts this much. It's the one person that could take full accountability, own his shit, and go out there and fucking apologize. That's a fucking real man. And he says to me, he goes, damn, Dad, I think that hurts more. I said, exactly. That's what makes a real man. It's not how tough you are. It's not how many people you beat up in the schoolyard and all that. It's knowing that. And it feels good to be instilling those principles now on my son based on my experiences. So at the end of the day, yes, I fucked up. I went through all this bullshit. But I look at it more as a blessing because that's preparing me to become a better father, a better husband, a better business owner, a better friend. So, yeah.
It prepares you so that way you could speak on your journey. Because if you didn't go through all of that, then you would have really nothing to speak on.
True.
So it just really makes you that much more relatable to the other person.
And it's the learning curve. Everyone has a learning curve. You're either you're in school learning a curve, you're on the streets learning a curve, your family learning a curve, or everyone's learning it's a curve.
Constantly learning on that curve.
Constantly.
Too, you know?
Yeah.
Constantly.
Just try to do a little bit better now once we get a little bit
That's the thing.
little bit through that.
There you go.
That really painful. There's all I feel like everybody goes through a really painful season, right? Or seasons. You know, mine was seasons.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
I mean, life is seasons. Because life, without our own destruction, there's going to be trials and tribulations that are out of our control because that's just life. Whether it's people dying that are loved ones or losing jobs or starting jobs and failing at this or whatever it may be. So it's just kind of learning how to navigate those types of seasons. And hopefully I'm learning not to cause more destruction to that season.
Yeah. Or the loop. You get stuck in the loop. Oh, you fucking.
Yeah.
Oh shit. I've been here.
Well, there's nothing worse than
I've
getting
been here.
stuck in the loop because I believe that life also has lots of levels, right?
Yeah.
There's levels to life, and when you get stuck in a loop,
You're fucked.
You're stuck at a level just running on a hamster wheel, and until you figure out that lesson, that life lesson, you don't get to level up.
No, you don't.
You know, but so hurry up and learn the lesson.
Yeah.
You know,
Or end up
if
in
you
jail.
if you see yourself stuck, going, voop, voop,
Yeah.
voop, it's really time to make a change because what is and I like that somebody brought this all the way back to Albert Einstein because I recently heard that Albert Einstein said this. He said the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. That is being stuck in the hamster wheel doing the same thing. I heard that saying in Narcotics Anonymous, but recently somebody said that Albert Einstein. Think about that. That's a long time ago.
That is a long time ago.
And he probably wasn't the one that made it up.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I hear it all the time in AA meetings. And,
Yeah.
And it makes sense. Like, that is insane.
You know, the crazy part too is that I only went to one AA meeting once, and it was really just to get a real estate deal for my client. Through AA. I never once went back after until recently. My son got in trouble for smoking. And Orange County don't play around. You get caught smoking here, man, they made him go through this 4-day Jade program, which I had to sit through with him, which was worse. I was really pissed, and each class was like 5 hours each.
Oh, wow.
And they do it from 6 p.m. on. So I'm like, bro, you definitely not fucking up again. He's like, no, Dad. And then you have to go do 4 AA meetings.
Oh, wow.
And my son's going through this whole process right now where he thinks he's hood. He tells people he's from Long Beach, but dude was really born in Los Alamitos, which I'm like, dude, there's nowhere close to Long Beach there. And so I purposely took him to the worst possible AA spots, which was Compton.
Yeah.
And we go over there. He's looking at these people coming in, and he goes, Dad, I don't know if I want to be here. And I said, well, let me just tell you something. In life, we're going to have decisions. And I'm not always going to be there. You're going to have to start making, you're going to be 18 here soon. And you might end up here if you want to make those decisions. And it was so powerful because some of the guys that spoke were just 19, 20 years. There was a guy that just overdosed on fentanyl, and they brought him up. And that was Monday. This is Friday. And he's talking about like, damn, and now I'm fighting it because I kind of want to go get high tonight. And my son's hearing this, and he goes, dude, that guy's crazy. He's going to die. And I'm like, that's exactly what happens, John. That's exactly what happens. And those were the only few times I ever went. I just stopped cold turkey, and I just kind of bashed through it. I don't know if that's the way you're supposed to do it. But I guess when you have that purpose and you're like, man, there's something bigger, I'm going to do however it takes. However it takes. And for me, it was my family.
Yeah.
Nice.
And plus, you were kind of falling on alcohol for so many other reasons, you know, from coming out of the military, going back into civilian life. That was almost like a crutch.
Yeah. It was. I started drinking early on. I was my grandfather was an alcoholic. My dad didn't drink. My mom was a occasional drinker, events. So I definitely think I got it from my grandfather because he would leave his beer out and I would take sips on it and just kind of like, oh, it's nasty, and then spit it. But it'd be like, but I want to try that again. And my dad was just a bodybuilder, very athletic. My dad was on shape. He didn't like alcohol at all. He hated drunk people. In fact, my grandfather one time tried to attack my mom with a knife. I remember this. And he was drunk and they go downstairs. They start fighting. And my dad takes out the old school cross for the tires.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, let's go, man. It's crazy. It's like a scene from Street Fighter because you had the whole street there, like in a circle. And it's my grandfather and my dad. And then my grandfather's like, let's go. And then my grandfather's like literally shanking him. And my dad's like blocking some of these, but some of them are hitting him. And then he hits him, his arm breaks, and he switches to the next. Then they take a break, which is the most craziest thing. It's like they went to each corner and like getting water or something. And then they start going at it again. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? And that's really when it started sticking to me that alcohol creates problems because, you know, my dad ended up going to the hospital. My grandfather missed his heart by a few inches. And then my grandfather got deported, gets sent to El Salvador. He gets drunk with his homies over there, and then his homies kill him. Yeah, they suffocated him because they wanted the house. In El Salvador during that time, it was really bad, like gangs and all this stuff. So then I started thinking like, man, alcohol, bad decisions, and also bad friends. And then something inside is still like, but I still want to try this. You know, I still want to try it. So it was always because I feel my dad was so strict on not to do it that I felt like I want to do this. And it's why I started doing it. And you join the Marine Corps, and that's like everything you do. It's like, hey, you're 18, you're going to war. Fuck yeah, you deserve to drink.
Yeah.
So you're like, okay. So I became the go-to guy for every hard liquor in the barracks because you're not supposed to have hard liquor in the barracks. Well, I made it happen. Like I was that one guy that like MTV Cribs, you open up the fridge, it was my closet. I had every type of Bacardi, Don Julio, Patron you wanted. Everything. And I would pass inspection because I was so good at hiding it that they wouldn't see it. So during drills or stuff like that, we were drinking. And it became, again, that status where I got status. Hey, JP, he's the go-to for this, JP. So I'm like, I'm accepted. I'm cool, right? I'm bad. And then that's how it just started getting worse and worse and worse. And I had many incidents. I shared this with my kid. One time, you know, with a bunch of Marines, it was two of us. We had all these girls in my car. We get drunk. I ended up in Griffin Park. My car was on top of a tree. All right. There's girls outside that flew out. I don't know how. And I'm waking up and some of them are on the floor, this and that. And I'm just like, what? And everybody just helped me move the car. We pushed it back down to the street and we left. And I'm like, that's not a sign to stop, man. I mean, that could have ended up really bad.
Sure.
Really bad, right? So it was just a lot of, I guess, bad decisions. And always now that I'm older, always trying to find that acceptance.
Yeah.
I think I realized even me going to the military was because my dad always told me that it wasn't good enough. So I wanted to prove him. So then I got that validation from him, right? Then you go over there, you're like, well, now it's a bunch of these tough dudes. How do I win this? Well, give them alcohol. Now I become the cool guy, you know? Then I get out of the military, try to get a job. This guy tells me, well, you can't be a real estate broker. You're bald and you got tattoos. You'll never make it. Well, yeah, I'm going to fucking show you. So fucking did it for that. And then you do all this stuff, and then you're never fulfilled. You're not happy because everything was rooted out of all the wrong reasons. Crazy how that works.
It is. It's wild. And it's a journey for sure to figure that out because everybody's journey is going to be very different.
Very different.
It's
but
always the same.
It's always the same. Exactly. And what have we not talked about yet that I'm sure is in his life? God.
Yeah, big part. Faith
You know what I'm
is.
saying? Have to.
Yeah.
Have to.
So I died in Iraq.
Yeah.
I was in a 7-ton accident. The 7-ton rolled over. I fell 35, 40 feet from a bridge down to the river. I was the first one to fall. Everything fell on top of me. I fell in water, so I drowned. And that was really a wake-up moment. And everybody says that because of that experience, I have that sense of, whatever you want to call it, that, closer to God. I avoided for the longest because I hated God for a lot of reasons. When that day happened, man, it's, I think back now, and it was God that saved me. Although we get upset and say, well, God, you could have made this different. I went through all these surgeries. I'm not the same. I'm 100% disabled now. Like, where were you? He's like, no, motherfucker, I was there. I'm the one that fucking helped you. This could have gone worse. You could have lost your legs. You could have gone this. Because the whole day before that happened, it was weird. I was getting these feelings. I remember telling Diaz, he was the corporal with me. I said, I have a bad feeling about today. He goes, bro, like, you got to stop. I'm like, no, dude, I really do. This is not going as planned. And we were setting security for this road, and transportation was going good. And we started hearing all these pop noises, pop shots, and tires being burned from across. And you could hear the officers on the other side saying, dude, we don't have enough people. If there's insurgents over there, we're pretty much screwed. And they're shooting pops and all this stuff. We're getting ready. So he's like, screw this, we're punching out. And we start punching out. And at night, there's no lights. So the drivers are using night vision only. And they have on the back of the tracks what's called cat lights. So they could only see those two dots in front of each vehicle. And that's how we're moving at night. So somehow during that process, because of all the chaos that was happening, he lost control and he goes over the bridge. Crazy part is I had a 249 SAW at the time. It's a small machine gun, right? And I always had it loaded. Something told me that day, and this is pitch black. I'm telling you, you can't see nothing. Something told me, I don't know, I just remember it happened so fast that I unclocked it, pick up the feed, took out the rounds, put it on safety, and put it down by me. And right when I put it down me, that's when I felt the whole hit. And we just flipped. The reason why is that machine gun is so sensitive that if it would have stayed out and it would have hit, it would have sprayed.
Yeah.
And then who knows what would have happened, right? So when I hit, everything happened so fast that when I hit the water, mud and water just started going up my nose and my mouth. And I'm trying to push myself, and
my God.
And I'm screaming. And the more I scream, the more water's coming in. And I could hear everybody on top of me screaming because in the 7-ton, everybody's behind you. So I had sandbags, people on top of me. And I'm like trying to say, help. And I can't. I'm pushing with all my might, and I'm not moving. And the more I'm moving, the more it's like you're drowning in a pool, but you can feel everything slowly going through you. It's the worst. And then I just gave up. I said, well, I'm not getting out of here, God. So if this is it, then fuck it. This is it. And everything went black for a second. And then everything went white again. And when everything went white, I felt this release. Like if you took a deep breath and you released everything, I felt the whole weight shift, everything left. And I felt like I was floating. And I remember putting my hand out. And when I put my hand out, I saw my little sister's hand. And my little sister's hand was about to grab me. And right when it was going to touch, they brought me back up. So they gave me CPR. They brought me back up. They were clearing my mode. So shout out to Doc Wigman. And
drowning. This just clarifies drowning is a peaceful way to go. They say that's what they say.
Really? Because that did suck in the whole beginning.
It like it was peaceful though at the end.
You know what? Yes. Towards the end, man,
after you stopped fighting.
It was like a good release. I can't even.
Not that I want to go like that. I'm just.
I guess the whole beginning process is really bad. I mean,
for your life,
I'd rather be drowning in the ocean. At least I know I'm fighting for it and I can move. Here, it's like you couldn't do shit.
Yeah.
Like I'm being pounded. I'm like,
shit.
At least give me a fighting chance here. No, like you were just stuck. And when they finally pulled me out, I came to and I looked, and then my leg was up here, and this one was to the side, and I couldn't move this hand. And I passed out again.
Oh, fuck.
And the next thing I know, I was in a helo. And they put me in the wrong helo. They put me on a helo with all the dead bodies.
Oh,
Oh
shit.
my gosh.
So I'm looking around, and I'm seeing dudes like whole, tarp blocked.
Yep.
And I'm sitting there like, dude, this can't be good, man. And I could see a glimpse of the window here. And I'm looking, and then the helo out of nowhere banks a right. And they start popping the flares because we were getting shot at. And I'm like, dude, this is not okay. I'm like, this is not gonna be a good one. So, getting out of the military after that really fucked me up because now it's like, well, you can't do infantry work anymore. You're basically screwed up. I start going through surgeries, and then that's really when I hit that nasty depression because Now I'm like, well, fuck, I joined the military just to do infantry. I don't want to do admin work. Who the fuck joins the Marines to type papers, you know? And they were kind of like, well, you have to go through a medical board, and that's kind of be the process now. So then really spiraled me to a down depression, and that's where I started packing the weight up. But the crazy part, and where I want to get to with this, is the transition out of that, because I was so fucked up after that experience that when I got out, I was homeless, and I had just met my wife. And I had a temporary job at a mortgage company with a partner, and I met my wife there. And then it's basically the Marine Corps gets me out. I got no money saved up. I got nowhere to go. And then my girlfriend at the time tells me I'm pregnant. And now I'm like, what the fuck? It's like reality just now hit you. You're like, holy shit. And you got to remember, you joined the military, 18, 19 years old. So the whole time it's been somebody telling you what to do.
Where to
Structure,
go,
right? Now you get out and you're like, holy shit, like this is coming too fast. What happens? So I slept on my truck for a while, raised enough money so I could get a small apartment in Long Beach. I went to my wife's house and I said, I'm going to take full responsibility. I didn't know how. Sold my truck. They repoed my other cars, brought her in, and I said, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to make this work. And for the beginning, it was basically cup of noodles and hot dogs from 7-Eleven that I would steal sometimes. She doesn't know this, but I would, or I'll steal cereal and water. And the guy I partner with fucks me over, doesn't pay me. So now I'm really like, holy shit, what am I going to do? So I have to find a job. And that's really when I went to that broker. And I think that was the last straw where somebody said, do real estate. So I said, okay. So I went, got my test, went with this guy. And he looked at me. He says, dude, you got tattoos. You're bald. You're a Marine. Like, she'd be a security guard or a cop. And I remember that day I had $20. And that was everything to my name. And that was the last draw that I had. I went to the liquor store, got a bottle of Bacardi and Coke. That was my drink. Started drinking. Got home, and there was a letter from the VA, and it said life insurance. And I opened it, and it said, you still have $150,000 left in your life insurance, and it's going to end up the end of this month. So if you want to continue paying it, it's like $15-20, something like that. And I looked at it and I said, dude, $150,000 could do a lot for my wife right now, or my girlfriend at the time. And so I drank, put the kids to sleep. Well, my kid, he was born already, John, my wife, knocking on heaven's door on the radio, got my gun, sat down, loaded it, and put a gun in my head and pressed the trigger. And for some odd reason, man, to this day, I still get it jammed.
Whoa.
And it did not go through, man. And I remember I just started crying. And then my son got up and he started running towards me and he hugged me. And that's when I said, okay, dude, I got to stop this. And I think that's really what started setting something different in my in my mind, that I have a lot of shit I need to work on and I need to seek help. And I remember going to the VA and they said, oh, no, you're fine. Or they gave me a bag of pills. Yeah. And that was the worst. They gave me some depression stuff that really fucked me up really bad. They gave me this therapist that didn't care. She told me, like, well, you're a man, just man up. You're a Marine. And I was just like, what the fuck? Like, you know, and I was just like, but that whole process, and this is, I guess, why I'm so into helping vets, because I have lost about 32 veterans that I serve with. The majority have been suicide. And going back to that day, that I could have been another number easily. And for God's will, that's why to answer your question, man, God has been there for me, you know, so much that now I'm so devoted to it. And I give back so much to him and thank him so much. And I preach about it because sometimes we don't want to see the reality. And he puts it in front of us. He says, look, bro, you got choices, and I'm giving you the way out. It might not be the answer you want. It might not be as easy as you want it, but you went out of this highway this far out. Now to get back in, it's going to suck. But you get there, and it's going to fucking feel good. And I think I've been on that journey to get back on that right highway.
Wow.
Well, you've been on it for a while because you're taking jiu-jitsu. You've been doing that for, it's got to be a number of years.
Yeah, a couple years.
You're a blue belt with a couple black stripes on there.
White stripes.
Okay, sorry. I saw the picture.
I'll take that promotion.
Oh, our black one's better.
No, there's no black one.
Oh,
But if
okay,
there
okay.
is, I want to know. I want it. If my professor's listening, you know,
Give him the black.
yeah.
But what I'm saying is, you've always been mentally wanting to improve yourself on a daily basis.
Yes.
You did that by joining the military to get out, to get someplace better. You've always been chasing something.
Yeah, to fill the void.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first
Yeah,
self-acceptance.
that's
100%.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I've been understanding here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's I realize now that like I said, everything I did was to get that validation.
Yeah.
I wanted that pat in the back that you're doing good. And it all came again from my dad. He would always, like, you know, as a high school, I made varsity as a freshman. I remember I got home excited. He said, it's not good enough. And I was like, what do you mean it's not good enough? And that shit fucked me up. So the first varsity game, guess what? I completely fucked it up because as the ball was coming up in the air and I'm goalie and I'm seeing the ball come up, the first thing I heard was my dad say, it's not good enough. So guess what happens?
You missed it.
The fucking ball went through my fucking hands. And then everybody was all like, cheap goalie. And then that shit fucked me up. So it was always like seeking that confidence.
Yeah.
So when I left to Iraq, I told my dad, that's the first time I ever took the initiative to confront somebody, right? And step up and say, hey, we need to talk. And it didn't go the way I wanted. I called him up and I said, I fucking hate you. I hope you die. I never want to see you again. And I remember my dad cried, but he didn't show me. My dad was very prideful. He kind of looked up and he says, okay. And he turned around and I know he cried and he walked away. And that shit fucking killed me. That shit killed me. I didn't speak to my dad for almost 10 years.
Oh my God.
And in 2020, I decided, this is when I was faith and, you know, getting back into God and understanding. And now being a parent, I understand that we all have traumas and histories. And I can't judge my dad because I never really, I know a little bit I know that his parents disowned him and he was raised in the streets and, you know, very different. So I took a trip to El Salvador to go see him. And it was the best 2 weeks of my life. Best 2 weeks to my life. When I used to go to church as a kid, we always had a prayer session. And everybody would pray for what they want. And I would go all the way to the back purposely because I would cry. And I would just pray for a hug from my dad. I'd be like, I just want one of those hugs that, you know, hits you to the soul. And I would cry and then clean up myself because I don't want nobody to see it. Well, the end of those 2 weeks, I got that hug. And it was, I have it on video. It's on YouTube, man. It was wow. And my dad cried. We cried, and I understand him. He said, I never wanted to break you down. I never wanted to not show you that I don't love you. I didn't know how to show you that I loved you. Nobody showed me that. And all I was trying to do was tell you that life is going to be the biggest bitch in your life. And if you don't know how to tackle it, if you don't have that tough skin, it's going to fucking eat you up. And I was just like, bro, you couldn't just said that. Like, that would have saved a lot, you know. Yeah. I mean, a lot. So when he passed away, man, that was. I had already not drinking for a year and a half, and when my dad passed away, I drank. I remember fighting. I was driving down PCH. We're in a really bad situation. My wife had left with the kids. She was calling it quits on me, and I was driving on PCH and I got a bottle and I drank it. And it's fucking crazy because it didn't even feel the same. It was like, it hurt, but like internally, like my stomach did not process it that well. Like it was bad. And I was like, why am I drinking? This shit hurts. Like it doesn't feel good. It's not even giving me a buzz. It's like, it's really just fucking up my inside. And I kept drinking and I drank for that month until I started throwing up and got very sick. And I showed up, and most people don't know this about me, and like you guys are hearing this first. My wife had moved back in with my in-laws, and they were sleeping in the garage with my twins and my son and my daughter. And I showed up there drunk as fuck, throwing up, and when I saw that, I said, oh, what the fuck are you doing, dude? What the fuck? I remember I made myself throw up more so I could sober up, went to the office, and then in a month made 80 grand, just enough so I could get her out of there, and we got a house. So it was a crazy kind of like, I went through that funk. My dad passed away, but then it's kind of like reminding yourself like, dude, there's a bigger purpose, and you're fucking up right now. You got to get back on it, right? And I think we all have that ability to do so. And like I mentioned earlier, it's just accepting and having to go back to that steps. It's going to fucking hurt. And for me, it was taking that pain and then getting kicked in the balls, and then watching your wife and your kids sleeping in a garage, and you're like, what the fuck? How do we go from the Hollywood Hills to here?
Yeah.
You know? But again, it's having that mindset of just having that push, and you need that push, and it's crazy.
Everyone needs to push, bro.
Yeah.
Everyone, even when you're at the gym, you want to change your figure, you want to change your body, you want to change your lifestyle. Everyone needs that push. And it's nice because you're building a little village with your family around you and making yourself better and being their example.
Yeah. And it feels good when you see all of them now follow through.
Yeah, man.
It feels really good. You know, again, now my wife on board, my son works out, my daughter, you know, it changes your perspective in life tremendously.
Yeah. Let's talk more about the veterans and what you do with them.
Yeah. So I've been involved with merging vets and players for some time now. What we do is we merge veterans with NFL players as a way of coping. You know, NFL players, athletes overall, they go through the same thing. You know, you have the locker room as the camaraderie and all that, and then you lose that.
Yeah.
And then in the military, you have these guys who achieve the highest pinnacle possible in the military. And I deal with this a lot with special forces guys. You know, I have guys that they call me because they're in a whole different level. You know, to get there takes a lot.
Yeah.
And then you come outside and you have one failure, it fucks you up because what's the word I'm looking for? Their expectation of execution is so high that they want to accept failure. And so they go through a really tough mindset shift of like, holy shit, I failed. They take it as like, that's my buddies that died. So I feel
and loss of identity.
Exactly. It's very difficult. So, you know, what I do with them now is we help transition veterans, teach them out, you know, entrepreneurship, financial literacy. We try to get them to get off of alcohol and drugs. Some of these guys have had, you know, still issues with that. And I also stand in one of the first ones to get calls if somebody needs help. And some of those calls are sometimes very tough. We recently had a veteran not too long ago go on Facebook Live as he was drinking Clorox on Hollywood Boulevard. Yeah, and that one hurt because he had been sober for some time. And again, it was just a trigger. Something went off, and unfortunately, nobody was there to answer that call. And when we caught wind of it, it was just too late. He was on social media advertising this stuff and passed away. He was a good dude, man. Good dude. And those are the things that hurt the most because
he died from drinking Clorox.
Yeah.
That's fucked up. That's not a pleasant way to go.
No, and he was live on Facebook. And that's the way most people got a wind of it because they're like, yo, you see what the fuck's going on? And everybody was trying to get a hold of him, and then we were trying to find out who was close to him. And some of the vets in the organization did get there, but it was too late. He was already on the floor. And so you know, for me, the veteran community is very important because of that transition that I had and what I went through. And there is that way of thinking that most veterans feel that once you finish with the military, you can't do nothing else. And that's not true. Fuck no, dude. There's so many veterans out there that are successful, that have achieved so many things. And I feel that if I've been able to achieve what I have, even if I just leverage real estate to get to where I'm at now, it's possible. And that's one of the reasons why I started my podcast. I have a podcast called Unfuck Yourself. We just hit 40,000 downloads.
Nice.
So I'm very excited
Good for
about that.
you.
Yeah. And it all started because that was my therapy.
Oh, yeah.
I used to talk to myself, and I didn't think people would listen until I had this one vet, right? And he's all like, bro, I relate to that. I'm like, wait a minute, you listen? Like, let me send you some merch, and I didn't even have merch. You know? But, you know, now I do it as a way to tell stories and help other veterans get out of whatever hole they're at, but do it in a way where it can relate, you know, and show them that there is more to after the military, and that you don't have to go be a cop, that you don't have to be whatever they always say we have to be.
That's
because
fit.
yeah, it's like no. So
standard.
And it's beautiful. I get so many messages from guys
Good
that want to start businesses. And I'm like, great, how can I help you? Like, well, we need investors, dude. Like, let me put together a business plan for you. Let me show you how to do this, and then a pitch deck, and then how you could go ask for money and da. And I'm glad to say that out of the, I would say maybe 30 businesses that we have got, I got 3 of them funded completely by my own clients that love what I do. And they're like, dude, anything for you, JP. Like, I got you. And I'm like, all right, look, I got this veteran. He has this great idea. He needs 30,000 injected for this. We got it. No question asked.
Who's the head guy with?
It's Nate.
Yeah.
Nate came on our podcast.
Yeah, he did.
Nate Boyer
We're
and
setting something up in Costa Mesa here with Nate and his team. at Voss's place,
Next
October
Level.
26th. Next Level Wellness.
Next level. Oh yeah, next level.
It's
Yeah.
gonna be October 26th. So
Oh,
we'll be there. Natalie will be there. I'll be there. Chad will be there.
When is it? October
It's
26th.
the 26th.
Did you know you were going to be there?
I think I do vaguely
She already
remember.
I already green lighted it with her.
Is it
I
in my
think so.
calendar?
I think
It's not yet. It'll be today. It's but because she's gone for hunting, 18th until you come back the 19th or something.
something like that. Yeah.
So we made it the 26th.
Yeah.
She's here. I green lighted it. You, I knew would be here because I saw your calendar was free.
But that's like super amazing. One is, as humans, we are supposed to be of service, right?
Yeah.
So that's what you're obviously doing. And then one of the reasons why it was so it was just a perfect fit for me to partner with these guys and do what we do is because they're so passionate and dedicated to our veterans. My dad being one of, and Marines, same, is just like, it's what you guys are doing day in and day out for us to sit around, talk shit on a mic, and then to come back and feel alone and lost and not know what to do is heartbreaking to me. And so I think you being vocal, that's where it starts. It breaks the stigma. And I think military men and women, they have the pride is pretty high, the ego is really high, and they have the narrative in their brain of like, man up, man up. Like you're not any form of like PTSD or mental kind of issues going on is looked at as a form of weakness, which is totally not correct. So it's so important for you to have your podcast and to have your voice because you were there. I mean, you literally had a gun to your head.
Yeah.
And God intervened and was like, no. You got shit to do.
It's funny because I never shared that story, and I blame Nate and Jay for that, and I was pissed. I was fucking mad because I was under the whole impression of once that shit happens, you fucking tuck that shit away. You don't fucking tell anything. So Bellator did this promotion. I think it was in Hawaii. And Nate was like, Nate kind of knew. I love Nate because Nate would always kind of give me like a heads up, like, Jay might want to talk to you, and it might be. So Jay's like, hey, JP, man, because I was training out Unbreakable at the time. They're like, JP, man.
Yeah.
He's like, I got you. I'm going to, you do good at talking. I want you to talk about vets. I'm like, all right, cool. I sit down, and the guys from military are like, so tell us about the time you put a gun in your head. I'm like,
wow. Yeah.
I was I actually cried of anger. I was so mad. I was like, this is not something. And then Jay tells me, when we were done, I looked at Jay and I said, don't you fucking ever do. And he goes, you don't understand what you just did for veterans. You don't understand. And so when they air that on the Bellator fight, that's the first time my wife, my son, everybody saw that. And my wife and kids called me right after, and they're like, we love you so much. And my son was like, Dad, I love you. And I remember that. I remember hugging you, and you were crying, and that felt. So I was like, you know what? Maybe my story does need to be shared.
Oh, for sure.
Because there's going to be another veteran that might be in that same position.
100%.
And this is something that's going to, and for the longest, I thought, no, you don't share that shit. You fucking, that makes you a coward.
Yeah, and you bury it.
Yeah, and it hurts you. It hurts you because you're not putting that shit out. And now I have so many veterans reach out and like, dude, just at church, I go to church. This one vet came up to me. He's like, you see this? He shot himself. Instead of cutting, he literally just shot his fucking arm thinking that was going to help being on whatever he was doing. And he goes, and when I heard your story, he goes, man, it made me realize that there's more to life. And you gave me that second chance. And I was like, wow.
A glimmer of hope.
I was like, I'll take that any day over a $30 million, $40 million real estate house that I sell.
For sure.
Just that's worth it more.
Our secrets grow in the dark, and they die in the light. So we got to tell our stories, man.
Yeah.
I mean, the fallacy is that we think that we're these like unique individuals, and that it's only whatever issues are going on is no one's gonna understand. I'm the only one, and you self-isolate, and it could not be further from the truth.
They call it terminally unique in the program that I am involved in. Terminally unique, but we're not
At all.
We just think that we're unique and that our people, nobody's going to relate to our story or have the same pain or be able to understand what we're going through, and by holding on to that, we kill ourselves.
Yeah. Or also the judgmental. What
Sure,
are they gonna
the
think?
stigma.
Yeah, like, oh, now they're going to think I'm crazy. You know, I never told anybody about my PTSD issue or anything because I was like, dude, there's no way a client's going to want to work with me. They're going to be like, wait a minute, you're fucking crazy? Like, I'm not giving you my house to sell. Fuck that. And what I realized is that, one of my biggest deals that I ever pitched, I went there and I fucking gave it all. And I remember the lady telling me, you know what? Your presentation was the best by far. And by the way, I was going against some big top agents, some of them that have their own shows right now. I'm not going to mention names, although I work with them. But they're like, dude, your presentation was better than his and his and his. You know why I'm not going to give it to you? He goes, just because you don't have the experience for something this big. He's like, but the fact that you served the military and the fact that you came here correct, presentable with an execution plan, these guys came here with the expectation that they already got it because they're this. You came here hungry. She goes, so come back a year from now. I'm going to give you my house. And I was like, well, how did she find out? Well, she Googled me. She Googled me and something came out with MVP and my name was on it. And she's like, that's why. And I was like, oh, shit. And sure enough, a year later, she gave me a $8 million house. And
Wow.
I was like, oh, dope. And then from there, now she's been my biggest client. She's an executive for Marvel. And I'm like,
wow,
and now
awesome.
Yeah. And so I realized, dude, it's okay to share. It's okay to say it and be honest. Because like you said, people will relate sometimes and be like, you know what? 100%, I'll give it to you. At least give you the shot. Right? And if you don't ask, then you're never going to find out.
For sure. And there's a big difference between sharing your experience and then being this victim and crying about whatever situation that you're in and doing nothing about it and taking no accountability, not getting better. That's not what we're saying at all, because that is unhealthy and that is going to do you no good. Because if you sit in your stew, that's horrible. And you're going to want to commit suicide right there. So it's like, it's not a form of weakness by sharing. It's a form of strength, because every single day, each individual is getting better, stronger, taking accountability for past mistakes or past things that we might have done and owning it and then doing better.
Yeah. Why do you feel that we struggled through that process? In your guys' perspective, I mean, you guys been on this boat longer than I have. What do you feel that is that?
Bro, we ask the questions.
Well, no, I'm just curious because I mean, whatever you guys, everything you guys are doing here, I admire, and I think it's important if I could take something back and share with my community, my veterans community. It's like, what's that next step now? Like, what does that look like for you now? I mean, do you feel everything's accomplished now? What is it that you still feel that, like, you have that obstacle? Because I look at you guys, I'm like, dude, studs, success, ripped, 25-year-old. She looks like an Abercrombie model on this 30 with tattoos, It's like, I would think you guys have everything figured out.
No way,
No one
but
does.
no, but you know what? And I don't even really know how to answer that question, but like I just won't be satisfied until everybody feels it's okay to share their pain and share what they're really going through, and that stigma is broken, man. That it's okay. Like, dude, the toughest of the toughest guys cry.
Yeah.
The toughest of the toughest guys get that shit out and put it out there for the world to see. It doesn't mean that some motherfucker's going to come beat my ass. Try it. It ain't happening. But I'm going to share the truth, and I'm going to tell the world what's really going on inside of me, and that, like, life, that I struggle through life, even though I'm successful. I'm successful because I struggle through life, and I openly struggle about it. And I surround myself with people that support me and love me regardless.
I love that.
And the people that judge, so it just brought to me to my absolute most favorite quote from the book by Napoleon Hill. I can't remember the name of the book right now, but people who judge don't matter, and people who matter don't judge.
I think that's from Outweighing the Devil.
Is it?
Yeah. It's a good book, by the way.
I'll tell you, for me, I have peace now. Where like I was trying to do and fill the void of success on multiple levels, where I thought, oh, national television, this is it. Like, I've arrived.
Yeah.
Or a reality show, movie, walking out in 100,000 with 100,000 people in a stadium, like, which is all amazing and so grateful for. However, it didn't fulfill the piece that I still was stuck with me. And I was always looking to be happy and accomplished with all the wrong things, thinking that was going to make me whole. And it wasn't until I walked in here July 27th just for a normal podcast interview to just share my little journey that I didn't even think was that big of a, didn't have that big of a speck on the grand scale of things, because I shared my sobriety on season 1 of Total Divas and put it out there just so that nobody else put my shit out in the street before I did.
Yeah.
Because owning your own story is very important. And then, wow. I mean, I had my check-in with my, I work a 12-step program, so I had my weekly check-in with my sponsor. We're on the phone, and she goes, you know, last night I was thinking about, because I've known her since I was 23, your journey, your personal journey in our relationship and where you are today. If you would have told me when I met you that you would be doing what you are doing today, I would have said, never in a million.
Wow.
Never in a million. Because it just seems so far, like, because I was embarrassed to talk about the lies you tell yourself, a form of weakness of having to do this, and I have to do this every day. It was like, oh my goodness. Is wild to me. God is amazing if you just open your eyes, open your ears, and keep putting one foot in front of the other. And things do end up falling into place if you're consistently working on yourself, your growth, and not trying not to cause destruction along the way and cleaning it up as you go.
Yeah.
So that's the big one for me, is to share that you're not hopeless. There's a solution. Regardless of where you think that you're at this point in your time or in your life, it gets better. Just buckle up, because it's going to be a ride.
That was good.
Buckle up.
Buckle.
Buckle up.
What do you-
Double buckle.
I want to know what you got to say about this.
I'm selfish, bro.
Huh?
I'm selfish. I want to look and feel great on a daily basis, so I have to do certain things to keep that going.
Was that always like you, though? Or?
Always.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, I've always been in decent shape. I've not. This last 5 years has been better because I'm praying more. 10 years better because I'm praying more. I always had pure driving force behind me. No God.
That's
when
powerful.
When I change that, then I yeah. But that's a daily basis, bro.
And that's a good trait. I have a good mentor of mine that similar like you. His thing was just always like, I gotta fucking outperform. I gotta do this. He came from a wealthy family, and he shares with me how he was raised with a butler and a driver, but he didn't care about that. He just wanted to do his own thing. He's like, I'm gonna fucking outperform. And when he finally got to the pinnacle of what he thought was like the highest at 24 years old, he gets diagnosed with cancer. And then when he gets diagnosed with cancer, the wife leaves him because he has cancer.
Wow.
And then that's when he's like, wait, the fuck? I'm unstoppable. I'm fucking here. This shouldn't happen. Like, what the fuck? I'm in shape. I got the look. I got the car. I got everything. Like, how? And that's what fucking brought him down and completely changed him. Now that he's all about, he built homes in Mexico for unfortunate people, and that was his fulfillment. He's like, it was never getting to that point. It was helping
No, because
others.
once you do, like, I have the relentless
help
like
people.
tenacity in
Yeah.
me, and that's what drove me to do all of the different things.
Wow.
But
Yeah,
it's
thank you for that. I help
it's
people. That's what
huge.
changed too. Sorry to
It's
interrupt
of
you.
service.
Yeah, of service.
Like
That's
human
a big
beings.
thing in
Yes,
my life,
that's
bro.
huge.
Yeah, that's when God came in. That was
That's
a
what I'm
big
telling you.
change,
Once
yeah.
you do that, there's always what I notice is people that have that drive, that crazy, they'll do extremely well, and then something hits.
Yeah.
And then when they realize, wait, what if I just share that and give back? That's when it changes.
Yeah, it's all
That's what
God.
I'm saying. Like literally, regardless if you're in a 12 step or not, because it's part of the 12th step. Once you get to the 12th step, now you have to give freely what was so given freely to you, to others. And so you see it all the time, or at least we see it in news. Like you have all these celebrities or musicians or people of status and fame and money and power, and they commit suicide.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that? It's because you're achieving on one scale, but it is a very lonely place if you are not fulfilling by
Yeah.
giving or doing something of service, whatever that may be. That could be like donating your time and going and volunteering at a soup kitchen. It could be going to a homeless shelter. It could be volunteering your time for your church. There's so many avenues to be of service, or helping your parents go get groceries, something like that. It's just, I really do think that human beings are meant to serve.
And I was the opposite. I was chasing to be like
For
you
sure.
guys. I was like, no, I want to be that driving force, this, that. But I was always giving. I was always helping. I was always that guy that would overextend, overcommit, and then would not take care of himself.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually, that's when I was like, fuck that. Like, I gotta take care of me, and it's okay. I finally accepted. So my whole thing growing up was I wanted to be big, like whether entertainment, I love music, so DJing or I have a video and photography background. So for me, it was like, dude, I gotta blow up somewhere, and it was always chasing that. So I think that's why I always seek that approval, that validation from people, because I felt like that's gonna get me enough. And what's crazy is I have achieved more of that now doing the opposite than when I was trying to do that for that. And that's the beauty. That's when you're like, holy shit, when it's rooted out of the right reasons, you're going to get the right result. But when everything is rooted off of the bad reason, and we see that with successful people. I mean, like you said, like everything was rooted. Why? Because they wanted something specific that eventually when you get in it and the tree fruits up and everything, it's gonna rot.
Yeah, can we mention somebody that is extremely successful, that is very much in the news right now, who was self-serving?
I don't know. Can we say that name?
We can say Diddy.
That's who I was talking about.
Of course you were. Yeah.
And that's a whole nother.
Yeah.
But it is like, dude, like self-serving for that long, and now it's crumbling. It'll crumble.
It always.
If it's not God built, it'll crumble.
It always. For a small time, this small, I almost went through the whole. There's a couple videos out there on YouTube. I'm not gonna mention names. I do pop them out for my kids sometimes, just for flex. So I did music, and there's a music video out there, and I produced it. I'm always like, that's me right there. And we got approached by a certain label. I'm not gonna say names. And the deal was so fucked up that's the only time I said, bro. I told my boy at the time, like, that shit makes no fucking sense, and I'm not gonna do that. He's like, no, but who cares? It's this person, and we're gonna get this and that. I'm like, you're signing your life to the fucking devil here, and this is giving me all the wrong feelings that I feel that I don't even want to be a part of this anymore. And they said no, and now I'm like, dude, I'm thankful I dodged a bullet because I probably would have ended up in a room with a gag and like two big dudes behind me or something. So I'm cool that didn't happen. So and all that for a $10,000 song. So fuck that. No, like So the industry, the entertainment industry, and that's why it's refreshing to hear on your perspective achieving such high pinnacle level. Like you said, millions of people watching you and all that. And there's so many people that actually think when they see that, like, wow, that's it. You made it, and everything's figured out, and everything's perfect. And that's the key word, perfect.
Right.
And it's not. It's not. I have celebrity clients, and I'll tell you now firsthand that once you get to meet them and they're telling you the shit, you're like, oh shit, no, I don't want your life. I'm perfectly cool where I'm at, my little home in Irvine.
Right.
And I'm like, I am cool.
Right.
You're hearing everything. You're like, and then all the stuff they don't share,
Yeah.
you know, and the depression. They're really not happy. They're really not happy. Really not happy. And then that's when you think like, wow, we idolize, we see these people, we get influenced by them. We want that lifestyle so bad that we stop living for ourselves to try to chase that. And that's the scary part.
And it's not real.
It's not.
That's what's like really scary, is that it's a fallacy. And it's really where you put so much into, say, that record label or the big agent or the manager that sell you a bill of goods, like, I can make this happen for you, X, Y, and Z, where it's not really the case, because the deal is never that sweet for you. It's whatever your dream is, no one knows that except yourself. So you're going to be the one to go ahead and grab it. No one's going to be able to just make it happen, and putting so much weight into other people thinking like, if I meet this person, if I sign with them, I can do this, or that'll be when. It's just not true.
Yeah.
When I lose another 10 more pounds, when I make $1 million, when it never stops.
Ever.
Bro, they had a thing on Sesame Street when I was growing up. The guy was smoking a cigarette. It was the car, you know, and he was saying, if a lady walks by walking a tiger, I'll quit smoking. A minute later, the lady walked by. Then another. It was Sesame Street, bro.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a fact, you know, like, if you can't be satisfied, and I will tell you that I have the gift of dissatisfaction, of unsatisfaction, of never being completely satisfied, which is a gift that
Double-edged sword.
it's a double-edged sword, but it causes us to continue to move forward,
To grind.
But if you don't have, and the catch to all of this is, like, we have an empty hole inside of us, all of us do, and unless we fill that empty hole and get that hole validated by our spirituality, by the work that we do before we go out into the real world, and we trust in God, that hole is filled. That's filled. I still have, like, I am filled. I prayed this morning. Life is good. I always tell God, whatever you put in front of me today, that is what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
You know? And when you fill yourself with that, whatever happens, all the other stuff doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't matter. Because really, truly, all in the very, very end, the only thing that matters is the love that you had, you know, the love that people had for you, and the love that you gave to other people. Because truly, at the end of the day, like, you know, I too had the Lambo, I had the.
And that can't go with you.
I had the big.
That can't go with you.
I had the big house on the hill. You know, and all of that shit became self-serving to me, which made me stick a needle back in my arm and relapse.
Yeah.
You know, and then what happened is I thought I was too cool for school, and then I get in a high-speed chase in the Lambo, and, you know, and then I never saw it again.
Yeah. And also, there's nothing wrong with having.
You could have the Lambo.
You totally
It's
can.
again, where was it rooted from?
You got it.
if
have.
we're doing it because, oh hell yeah, these guys.
Because
You need the
girls,
beginning
bitches.
part.
Yeah.
Every day. It's a daily reprieve,
Yeah.
like, of filling that spirituality hole. So having the grind, having the grit, having the wanting more, that is good. It is a double-edged sword, because sometimes, you know, some things are never enough, even though you're obtaining, like, really amazing things. However, that keeps the individuals going. It's like, you know, your top percenters, because some people are just, everyone wants different things in life. However, what makes you whole is whatever that may be. I just know from being here for so long, him and I is in the mornings with your God and that alone time to get your shit right.
Yeah.
And if once I start taking that away, because all of a sudden the grind, things are popping, things are happening, and all in a good manner, then all of a sudden things are not right.
And for me, then I want the Lambo for the wrong reason.
Yeah.
You know, I want the Lambo so that
You can flex.
so that
Yeah, that's
you
what I'm
think
saying.
I
When it's
look-
rooted off
Yeah.
of the wrong
Yeah,
root.
like-
That's why I did it.
like, I mean, I have stuff. It's just that the only people who know what stuff I have
It's
are
you.
pretty
And-
much the people in this room. And like, I never post anything that I really have on Instagram. I want people to know that help is available in recovery, and I think it's okay if people post that they become successful, because then that it also allows people who are in the gutter
Yeah.
Yeah.
to know that you too can get there. But if it's everything you post
And the only
thing you post, it's like, then I'm like, you're just flexing every day, and it's kind of unattractive. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I agree.
like if I'm going to, and granted, I have never flown on a private jet before, but I do sometimes fly on Jet Suite
Yeah.
X, and that's pretty cool.
Oh, I got something for you on Jet Suite right now. You're gonna love this, but go ahead.
Okay.
You might never do it again. FYI.
What, Jet
Oh.
Suite X?
Why?
One of my clients, she's in the airline industry. She says that the jets come from junkyards and they give them a facelift, and that's what they're put out there. So she goes, I would never fly. I'd rather do charter, good plane, than jet suite. So when she told me that,
But you know what? At the end of the day, we have some 747s that are dropping.
Why? Because this fool
But yeah.
don't like flying at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
He won't even get on
and
a
she
plane,
said
barely.
only do Delta. Delta by far, their inspection for the planes are legit. She's like the top of the line. They're the ones.
See,
that,
look at all the bullshit we have to worry about. Our food,
Delta.
our food's
I'm
killing
only
us.
going
Delta.
The
No
flights.
jet suite.
Well, let me tell you that Delta is by far the most expensive way to fly.
Yeah.
But now you know it's worth it. Now you know why.
Which is a shame how flying where it's gone to.
Actually,
It's a bananas.
what's the airline that we really like that
Spirit.
Oh
No,
you
hell
like,
no.
You like JetBlue.
we no that one that
Oh, Emirates.
yes,
That's the bomb, but it's
Emirates.
expensive.
Emirates is legit. Never flown on it.
me either.
I
I think
flew.
he has.
I did too.
You have
Emirates.
too.
But I only went because it was WWE, and that was my. It was with Vince McMahon. There was like 5 of us, and that's when we flew to Afghanistan to visit the troops. I did
Oh,
it
that's
twice.
dope.
Took a shower on the plane. The floors were heated.
Wow.
Were
the
you able
shit.
to like sit there and get your makeup done? And,
Oh, I sat like in the bathroom for a minute,
How big was
saying
that?
thank you. Hella big, like hella big for a plane. You know, in a
Yeah.
plane. I don't know how.
I don't
people
know
go, like-
how
I don't know.
sh- I don't know how
'cause
Shane-
I'm like sweating and suffocating.
yeah.
Going to pee.
Can you?
So
yeah,
I don't know.
Oh, no, I only travel first class though.
I know, but
Yeah,
the,
so
the
do
first
I.
class bathroom is very.
Yeah.
It's just as small.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's
you
the
don't
same
use it, though.
thing.
You have a little pure poop. No, that's a little bit bigger.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No.
Yeah.
I
No.
mean, bro,
I fly
I'm
way
usually
more than
I'm
you.
usually like leaning up against the
Oh, I'm
wall.
always leaning my head. My forehead's on there.
you put your
Well, what about
My forehead. I lean like this.
what about our boy Thor?
Oh,
Dude.
Yeah.
He needs his own cabin. just
Seriously.
For,
I mean,
I mean, he does it.
I really do make sure though before I fly that I don't have to go poop.
Oh, me too.
Like,
yeah.
Or if I have to, that's not happening. I'm not going. It can't, or it physically won't happen for me. I can't. One, I can't stay in there that long. I'd feel weird because I'd feel everybody is like, oh,
she's in there
in-
taking
uh-huh.
a poop.
So that was, yeah, that's what.
I also feel women could hold it longer than men.
Yeah, I feel like a
Yeah,
man.
fuck that.
you-
I mean,
yeah,
I
if you
try to
have go,
avoid
you
it,
have
but
to
there's
go.
been a few times where I'm
On a
like,
plane?
fuck.
Are you
had to
kidding
put-
me? My brothers literally will pull over and shit in their
A
a
bucket?
bucket.
Bucket.
I'm like, you dirt
I
balls.
couldn't. I had to go once, and I'm like, fuck, I'm gonna have to go, and I go there, and the whole thing was like staying even on the seat.
Yeah.
No.
And this is Southwest.
No.
And I'm like, and automatically I'm thinking like, dude, I gotta go.
Southwest got the smallest bathrooms too, because I just flew Southwest,
man,
and I was like in the freaking bathroom just trying to go pee, and I was like, how does a giant stand in this?
Right?
Like, I'm not a regular
Right,
sized
no.
man. I'm a small man. I'm a short man.
Yeah, no, that's not happening.
You're wide though.
I am wide.
You're wide.
Yeah.
But still, those restrooms are quite small.
Yeah, they're thin.
Really
For-
small.
Yeah.
So I
don't know,
thought I
we
was
wanna-
doing something great for Donna. Now we're still on the planes.
I
But
know.
Donna and Aurora, I got us the seats that were like right next to each other. Well, apparently they were against the bathroom, so that you couldn't lean back.
Oh.
And Donna was not happy with me
Yeah.
on our Texas trip.
Oh, that's
Yeah, that
I'd be
sucks. Yeah, it sucks.
pissed. You would not be allowed to manage the next trip.
Yeah.
My house.
Yeah, Jonathan would be upset too.
Yeah, I'd be upset.
Yeah, see, I need room because of the knee surgery, so I have to extend. So I'm always getting like either
Oh,
business or
yeah.
I have to get first or I have to get the aisle.
Yeah.
It sucks. Going back to the bathroom thing, I always thought of a thing because I'm a neat freak. That's the one thing. Like my house has to be clean, bathrooms have to be clean. I'm a very like
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for a while, almost a year, I went and I took notes on what the cleanest bathrooms and restrooms in
Oh,
different
wow.
locations were.
What are they?
So first of all, Targets
Okay.
in certain areas.
Okay.
Targets, Starbucks, and then certain malls.
Okay.
To avoid restaurants by all costs because most restaurants are really bad, or the type of chemical they put on the seat is really bad.
wow.
There's actually reports of people getting allergy reactions to the chemical they put on the seats. So I note all this down. I was like, dude, you know what? I should start an app, like a Yelp app, where it would have the ratings of the bathrooms. And so you could pull it up and
They
do
had that. That's a Seinfeld episode.
Really?
Oh, really?
Yes.
Dude, Seinfeld
That's
took
funny.
my idea.
I'm pretty sure that's a Seinfeld episode where Kramer was looking for the next best bathroom.
Oh,
He put up
see?
his home. He put up his home as a place to go to come to the bathroom or something like that. I don't know if it was Seinfeld. It was a funny one though. You're on.
Dude, I'm telling you, man. I thought about that, and I'm
Next
like,
big idea.
Watch now. Somebody's gonna
I
listen to
know.
our podcast.
know, and
All of
And
a
that
sudden,
next
it's
thing
like,
you know, what should we give them a
LLC?
name too? Like Le Poop.
Le poop. Ooh,
Do you have the Le Poop app?
No,
the le poop.
do not.
Because for a guy, it doesn't really matter. Like it's only about
No, it
the
does,
pooping,
man.
right? No, I
Yeah,
mean
the-
only
oh,
about
yeah,
the pooping.
the pooping,
But
yeah.
like if I'll pee anywhere. I don't get McDonald's, worst restroom in the world. If I just have to pee, that's fine. But like,
Do you breathe through your mouth or your nose? I breathe through my mouth, but it's probably worse. 'Cause I don't
Oh.
want to smell it, but then I think go through my
they're
mouth.
both
Now you're
connected.
eating everything.
regardless, it doesn't
It
matter,
doesn't
dude.
No,
It's
Yeah.
there's some bathrooms though that you go in and you just smell it, and I can't.
I know.
I'm like, no, dude.
I mean, I'm
absolutely
gonna
not.
be honest with you guys. There's been a few times where I had to poop in an outhouse.
I
You
did
know,
that
a
before.
disgusting,
I've done that
stinky.
I've pooped in a porta potty.
Yeah, that's what I mean. A porta potty.
That's not an outhouse.
Okay, a porta potty.
That's not an outhouse.
Sorry, a
bro.
porta
I've done
potty.
both. An outhouse is at the beach, where you just plop it into a hole.
Oh, I never done that.
Yeah.
Oh, I did that. I done that. I mean, dude, a
Oh,
porta-
you were in the
I know. That's
Marines, bro. You
We had to dig our own.
Yeah, I
hole.
was
Dig
just
it,
gonna say
dig-
you're
dig-
putting
dug a
dirt
hole.
over. Yeah.
And the worst was when we were entering Iraq because we were wearing the whole gear for in case we got hit by the whatever chemical agents.
All
So
hot.
it has
and-
carbon inside, and you got to wear all that. And bro, if you need to
Oh
take
my
a shit on
God,
that,
you're
like,
fucked.
so
And sometimes when that heat hits you,
it was
you have to-
135
You have to poop.
Oh yeah.
It makes you have to poop.
Yep. Yep.
Like sometimes as soon as I get to like Lake Havasu and it's fucking 120, and I stand outside for like 2 seconds, I'm like, oh, I gotta go poop.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, we had we would do certain pit stops, and you would see these guys start walking out with their shovel, so you know that all right, they're gonna go take a shot, and they'll stay there, and then they'll start unzipping, unbuttoning. It takes you like 5 minutes
Yeah.
just to take everything off, and then you're finally down there. Now you got to dig your hole, so you're digging your hole,
my God.
and then right when you're about to squat, the alarm starts going off. So you see dudes running, picking up their stuff, sometimes poop hanging out.
Oh,
You're just like, dude, it was the most. So
That's
I used to
crazy.
always try to time it perfectly because I was like, all right, man, hope nothing happens.
Yeah.
There was only one time it did, but I was done. And at that point, fuck it. You don't wipe. And you just got to deal with rash for the whole fucking day because you're like, fuck, by the time we stop again. That's why baby wipes are like the essential. If you
Yeah.
have baby wipes, you're like golden, man,
Yeah.
because you shower with baby wipes, clean with baby wipes. Yeah, it was quite the experience. So that's why now taking shit anywhere is not a problem, but I am also picky because of that. I'm like, fuck that. I had a shit.
Yeah, you're like, I was doing digging my dirt hole.
I'm going to I remember the first time I had a $32 million listing home. I said, I'm going to take a shit on this. That was dope. That was the dopest shit I ever took.
I will tell you, other good places are like high-end hotels. Like you can pull into the Montage. Or, you know.
Dude, I go to the Monarch just to take a shit.
Yeah, just roll into the Monarch real quick.
They're gonna kick me out now, but Pelican Hill.
Oh yeah.
Pelican Hills. I mean, they got their own lockers. But this house, man, the toilet area was probably the size of this room. And they had like heated the floors.
Yeah, that's nice.
The toilet was this fancy ass toilet that as you're taking a shit is cleaning it.
Yep.
And that was pretty dope. And it vibrated.
Yep.
So I don't know if I was getting turned on or trying to take a shit. I was like trying to concentrate. I was like, heat up.
Those are the best.
I was like, dude, it's funny. I just found that statistic that most real estate agents, because we have keys to it, will actually use the bathroom. Now that's better than the ones that got caught that were doing other stuff. They would bring their significant others to the houses and then do stuff there. So I was like, yeah, I'll do the bathroom part all day. But there are stories out there on the real estate side that it's pretty crazy when you have keys to every house available out there.
Yeah, that's wild. That is nuts. I would be pissed if if my real estate agent was like fucking in my bed.
That or the pool.
Nah.
In the Hollywood Hills, it happens a lot. You know, you have the guys that are like, oh yeah, it's my development.
Oh my gosh.
Take you to the pool.
That is terrible.
Obviously, you got to go to the ones that don't have cameras, right?
Most of them don't, surprisingly. Or if they do, they
know how to turn them on or off or something.
You have full control of it.
Yeah.
You have full control of it. So you can control it. The seller's like, hey, most of the time the developer's out of town. Oh man, it's
so you're still in the real, so you still do real estate and then your podcast?
Yeah.
And then obviously the service side is the merging of the beds.
Yeah, so still got the podcast, still strong in real estate. I just moved to Orange County 2 years ago, which I love from LA.
So you selling Orange County homes or
Orange County, and I have a big team in LA. We broke into the commercial side right now. We actually got a big deal. We're doing 1 million square feet in Tulare. We just got a good LOI from a big company. I hope that goes through. And it's all been relationships. This is kind of where I was going at that. You know, when you were talking about everything rooted for the wrong reasons, I don't know if you ever heard of a book. There's a book called The Gene Keys. Oh, look into it. The study here is that all of our genes have the patterns of what we're meant to do, purposefully wise. And when I read mine, it said serving and giving. And at first I didn't accept that because I was like, fuck that. I want to be what he's doing, successful, have cars, all this stuff. And my mentor said, well, no, you're looking at it the wrong way. Doesn't mean you can't achieve that. It says that your true purpose is to give back. And that's what you're not seeing. So you're forcing yourself to do something.
It's a great book.
Yeah.
There's another book that I think the same guy read, The Gene Keys, but it matches your partner. So what the other what the other book said was that one person cannot lead the country, or they were looking for the next great president or leaders of companies. And they said one person cannot do the job. There's a partner to that person to make excellence.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And you take that test, and it tells you what your characteristics are, and then it tells you who to match up with.
Yeah, it's really powerful. I had my son do the test, and there's addiction.
For the gene key?
Yeah, and there's addiction in my son's gene key. And
wow, I want to do my gene key.
And that all makes sense now, because everything that he's going through and all that, it falls right along with everything there. And on mines, there's a lot of that. There's also uncertainty, which makes sense, because that's why I always, trying to see that. And it also, what's the other word that's in there? It's kind of like an insecurity, kind of like I would bring myself down too much.
Sure.
And I have to stop that. So that's like my shadow. Yeah. My shadow is the insecurity, the doubtful, all that other stuff.
That's crazy. I wonder, I would do that a lot until I married Jonathan, and he would stop me from doing that annoying.
And it's kind of like what he said, that's what you need, that right person, because your partner really is important.
Imperative.
Like, trust me, man, my wife pisses me off sometimes, and I'm like, God, you know what? But then I think about it, I'm like, you know what? I would never find another person like
ever.
I'm like, you've been through me with everything. I mean, honestly, if I was her, I would have left me a long time ago. A long time ago. So I sit there and I tell you, you know what? The one thing I always mess around with her, because before the twins were born, I always told her, damn, my contract with you is almost over. And she's like, what does that mean? I'm like, I only got 5 more years and I could go to Miami. And, and she goes, really? Okay. And then my wife had her tubes cut and burned 3 years ago.
What?
And then the twins came.
Wow.
Which is crazy, right? And I told her, well, I'm stuck with you now for another 18 years.
Yeah.
And she goes, you would never fight. And I'm like, you know what? You're absolutely right, man. Because there's a lot of, we're not perfect.
Of course.
I think we all can accept that.
Yeah.
But her imperfectness makes her perfect, if that makes sense. And that's like the yin to your yang. Like, honestly, there's a lot of things that she does that it might not be like you said, like full 100%, like rah, 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 but it's just enough where it's like, all right, you know what? I got it. She got my back and let's do it. And she's always been home for the kids and she's a great mother. I mean, my kids are blessed to have somebody in a household that, cares for them like she does and does the things that they do. And so, yeah, it's important. And,
it is.
And I think what he was talking about, that the book talks about on how finding that right person, because you're committed for that person for the long road.
Long road.
And if we see divorces and stuff like that, the reason it doesn't work out is because either it was rooted again for all the wrong reasons. Sure. I got a client of mine, very wealthy at a young age, decides to marry a Instagram influencer for all the wrong reasons. Sure enough, $250,000 later on a lawsuit, they broke up. So it's kind of like, bro, that was gonna happen. So interesting.
It is. It's important. It's your partner. It's your other half. So finding them is important.
You always say they can make you or break you.
I do. I say it all the time.
She says it all the time.
Like all the time, because I feel like you don't really, or at least I haven't heard it as often, but who you choose, especially when you're young too, like you got time. Like you don't have to rush into anything. Like you mentioned, a person coming into a lot of money early and then going into a committed relationship off the jump, where who you pick to spend the rest of your life with is a big decision, and it can make or break you.
Yeah.
For sure.
100%.
Well, JP, dang.
Yeah, congratulations, dude.
Great podcast, man.
So awesome. Like with everything from your family to you losing like 70 pounds since the last time I saw you. You're popping in real estate, to the new twins, to you being of service to not only with your podcast, sharing your story, coming on here, but, with our veteran community, for your service. Thank you for your service. Incredible. Just another testament. God moving one of his soldiers.
I love it. And thank you guys for having me. It's a little pressure, and it's a good time.
Yeah.
For sure.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, my friend.
Amazing.
What are you eating? What'd you find out there? Huh? Some nuts?